Hey guys, we're back. NorCal Disc Golf back in Napa. This is the second 9 holes of the 2017 Vintage Cup here at Skyline Disc Golf Course. Thank you guys for watching the first 9 holes. Some pretty good disc golf. Dale Gatlin with a 1-shot lead. Want to thank Greg Pyle, Dandridge Marsh, all the players, all the sponsors. This was such a great tournament. I actually played it last year. And I want to thank you, the viewers. Thank you guys for watching, supporting, and giving great feedback. And thank you to my sponsors. Without you guys, these videos wouldn't be possible. So definitely appreciate everybody who contributes to these videos. And also got to thank Kyle, who ran the second cam this weekend. Terrific job. And hopefully we get some really good shots on this second 9.
Delaney, Napa, California, rating undefined.
Dale Gatlin, Santa Rosa, California, 1001.
Mike Sale, originally from Downers Grove, Illinois, currently San Francisco, California, 999.
Lance Landgren from East Bay, 973.
And there you can see the score is Dale Gatlin leading it even, followed by Lance Langdren and Delaney Cole at +1 and Mike Sale at +2 after 9 holes. Here we go, hole number 9, 231 feet in pin position A. It's a very delicate touch shot, as you can get a lot of skip on your hyzer. There we're going to see Dale Gatlin. There's the basket right there, the blue basket. And Dale Gatlin looks like he's going to go with the gator. And there's that skip I was talking about. Because of the slope and the angle of this hole, if you come up high, you can skip down towards the basket. So it's a really tricky shot. And Delaney just getting a little bit higher and looked like he stopped by the tree, which that's going to be a really nice shot. Pin high. Here's Lance. I think Lance was throwing a gator or gator-esque, maybe like a rhino. And that's not a bad shot either. You want to kind of be where that tree is, and if you can hit the tree where Lance was, that would be very ideal. Here's Mike Sale using that green disc that I mentioned in the first video, which is a putter. And that is way down there. And there's that skip again. So just because it's a shorter hole does not make it any much easier. Here's Sale for birdie. Great effort. Just didn't have the height on it. Here's Gatlin for birdie. Oh, and just left side, right out of the basket, hits the chains, didn't stick. Good effort though. Here's Lance. And he got it. Lance, really solid putter. One of the things that you'll notice with these players is that they take their time when they putt. And there's a great birdie for Delaney Cole, so Lance and Delaney getting the birds. Is that one of the things is that a lot of these players, they take their time when they putt, and it cannot be emphasized enough that when you're in a tournament or you have a big putt, you know, really hone in and try to get the best line that you can. As you can see, Lance Langdren and Delaney Cole evening Dale Gatlin there, so we have a 3-way tie with Sale, 2 shots back now. As we go into hole number 10, 260 feet in pin position number C. And pin position number C is actually protected, and it's over this line of trees. So if you see the tree line, you kind of want to go over the tree. There's a little bit of a yellow top on it, And that's where Delaney's going to go. You can see right there, he's going to flex back. That's going to be a really good shot here. Whizzing by Kyle. And he will have a putt. This is actually a really fun pin position. And it's not too long either. It seems longer and it seems harder because of the trees and you can't really see the basket. But if you hit your angle and you hit your line, you should have a birdie putt. And there's a thumber by Lance. And we just couldn't find that one coming back down. Dale just throwing a hyzer in there. And another roller down the mountain. And Sale going back to that green disc they just threw. And he's going to have a really nice shot. And he's inside the circle. And here's Dale Gatlin. Dale Gatlin way down there after the roller. And he had a really quick upshot. But he actually landed pretty close to the basket. And here is Lance Langdren, who has a nice upshot. Fairly open window. And he's going to nestle right next to the basket. Really nice shot. And I think this might be Delaney. Cole Delaney. No, that wasn't Delaney Cole. I was trying to figure out who that was. This is Mike Sale after his really nice drive. With a little bit of a tester for a birdie here. Downhill putt. About 25-30. Inside the circle still. And he got it. What a putt. And here's Delaney Cole, who's got a birdie putt of his own. A little bit of a tester inside the circle. Downhill putt. And if you miss this, you could potentially roll down the hill. And he got it. Never a doubt. Delaney Cole just making that look easy. And here's Dale Gatlin cleaning up. And Lance Langdren cleaning up for their pars. Dale Gatlin, nice putt. Lands right next to the basket. So a couple threes coming up. And a couple birdies. So Sale gets one back as he tries to get back in this thing. And Cole has now taken the lead at -1 after 11 holes. Here we are, hole number 11, 258 feet in pin position number B. And here's Delaney Cole to start things off and just ripping that one out, but catching an early tree. But fortunately for him, and this pin is fairly wide open, where the pin location is. Sunday is going to be a little bit different, but he shouldn't have a problem to getting an upshot. But just an unfortunate clip right there. And here's Sale going back to that green disc. He has found a rhythm with it after a couple really good drives. And just a little bit long. And you can see there's the basket. It's fairly open. There's a little bush short of the basket, maybe 10 feet, that you could get hung up on if you do come in from the right side. There's Lance just ripping one out there. And I think that was his Rhino or his Gator. He was using one. I know this is Gatlin's Gator. And it just didn't quite make it there. Just the grass just clobbered it. This grass here at Napa and even at Taylor Mountain is just catching everything. It's at that height right now where you're not going to get a lot of skip. Gatlin giving it a run. Just over the top. He should have that for a 3. Here's Delaney Cole, and you can't really see it, but there was a lot of wind right here on this putt, so very difficult. Good run by Delaney. He'll have that for a 3. Here's Lance, who went long of the basket. Oh, and off the front of the cage, a really nice run by Lance. And here's Mike Sale trying to get another one back on this card. And he just went long. Didn't hit anything. Like I said, a lot of wind. The wind was very evident in the different shots and the decisions that you make as Gatlin cleans up a really nice 3-putt. So here's Sale coming back after what looked to be a pretty good drive, but just kind of sailed his putt by the hole. And so this is to have a 3. And just off the basket, and he's going to give that birdie that he just got right back, as that's going to be an unfortunate bogey 4. And Lance is going to clean up here for a 3. Delaney's right next to the basket. He'll have a 3 cleanup coming up. Whoa, and Delaney almost slips. Got to be careful. And there you can see it, 3 pars, Gatlin, Langdren, and Cole, and Sale with the lone bogey. So the leaderboard doesn't change a whole lot as Sale drops back 1 shot as we go into hole number 12. 206 feet in pin position B. Here's Delaney Cole throwing a forehand out there, and I actually really like this play. That was a great shot. I really believe that the forehand on this, unless you have a monster turnover shot, is really the smarter play. I really like attacking this with the forehand, but you're going to see a couple different shots and variations on the hole, and that is a monster shot by Lance. And again, here's Dale with the same shot. So if you have that in your repertoire, that big turnover shot, that's parked, then do it. But if you have a bigger forehand than turnover shot, I really do like the forehand play. But you can see these players parking it either way. So just a really fun hole, nice angle on it. Great for learning both the forehand and a turnover shot here, as we see Mike Sale pump one out there. And pretty nice shot. So all players surrounding this basket, and everybody's got a birdie putt. Oh no, the cage and rolling, sit down. And that was unfortunate for Mike, who had a pretty good drive. Here's Delaney, who seems to be on a mini tear right now. And he got another one. So watch out, Delaney Cole, Napa native, putting together a run. And this is Lance, who is in the bush. Really tough shot because you got a lot of obstacles in the way, but the basket's not too far in front of you. Let's see if he can find a window. And he got it. What a nice putt. So that's another birdie. So Lance and Delaney are in for birdies, and this is a par for Sale. And unbelievable. How in the world did that flip out? And it rolled all the way down the hill. I did not get Sale putting again. He actually re-putted from the same position as Dale with a really nice birdie. 3 birdies. Sale putted from the same position that he just had. He opted to re-putt, take the penalty, and he ended up getting a 5 rather than putting back up the hill. So an unfortunate double bogey for Sale as he goes to +4 as the rest of the card moves into negative numbers as we go into hole number 13, 279 feet, pin position A. So here's Delaney throwing one out there. And one of the things I wanted to talk about what Sale just did there, and it's actually a really smart play, and a lot of players don't know that they can do it, is that you can, if you roll down a hill or you roll 120, 150 feet, or you're in a very difficult lie, you can reshoot from where you are, but it is a penalty shot, and then you just add 1 on top of your score. So that is what Sale did there, and is completely legal, and it was a smarter play because the likelihood of him making that upshot and then re-putting again, he was going to get a 5 anyway, unless he got lucky and made that in. So I really think that is the smart play. As you see, Lance throwing one out there, and here's Gatlin. But definitely a rule to know if you're a player or if you play a lot of tournaments. Smarter moves like that will help your score and will hopefully give you a little bit more confidence moving forward. As Sale goes back to the well and using that green disc again. And that's a pretty good shot. And there's the basket. And pretty good shot for Delaney, who was in a little bit of a trouble there off the tee box. And here's Gatlin, and Gatlin is not afraid to run anything. And he just goes right by the basket. He'll have a tester coming back uphill. And here's Lance. So this is for a birdie for Lance. Oh, and it looked like it glided right by the basket. And here's Sale for birdie. And just low right out of his hand. So Sale's going to get a par as we see the rest of the group coming up. And here's Dale's 3 save after going right by the hole. And this is a tester, tricky putt. And he got it, never a doubt. Dale Gatlin, known for his putting. And there's Lance. Lance is actually a really good putter. Again, this is my first time filming Lance, I believe, and just really enjoyed watching him putt. And there's Delaney Cole finishing up, as that is a par frame. And you can see Delaney Cole still at -2, with Lance and Gatlin right behind him at -1, followed by Sale at +4. And now we start on hole number 14, pin position C, 300 feet. And this is probably one of my favorite holes, just a very scenic shot. And there's Delaney Cole, who's firing really quickly. I had to capture that. And there's the flag. So the pin is directly below that flag. And this is just a big hyzer shot. And really very scenic hole. I remember last year I got a really bad roller, got a double bogey on this hole. And that's just left of the basket. But Delaney should have Lance should have a putt from there. This Gatlin just crushing one out there. That needs to sit down. And finally it does, so he'll have a uphill look at it. Here's Sale. Again, that green disc, it's working for him. And that needs to just get up. And it looked like it just stopped short. Here's Delaney for his second shot. And a very difficult shot because this hole is on a hill. So it's all about angling and trying to get the disc to stop before it hits or catches edge and then rolls down, because there's a creek down there, and the creek is an OB shot if it is surrounded by water. It looked like a decent shot, but a very tough 3-putt for Delaney coming up. And Mike, I think Mike was playing it safe, and that was a good decision there. So Lance went left and he's in a bush. This is going to be a tester for birdie. And again, if you don't hit this thing dead center, or if you hit off the cage in any way, you're probably going to roll down the hill and you may end up in the creek, which is going to cost you. And it could lead to a 4 or a 5, most likely. And he was fortunate for that to just stay right there. As you can see, there's Delaney all the way at the bottom of the hill. So this is not an easy putt to save par. Oh, wow. And I thought he had that just off the top. And there's Mike Sale with a huge putt. He needed that one to get back on track, and that's a great par. And here's Dale for 2. So he had CTP. Oh no, and folks, nose up. And that's what's going to happen. The wind is just going to catch it, and it's going to push it up. And that's exactly what happened right there as it hit off the top of the basket. Nice putt for Lance. Dale's still looking at the basket thinking, what happened? And again, it was just the wind, nose up, and it just kind of glided on him. But also, footing on this hole for putting purposes, footing is always very tricky. But I know he won in that. So 3 pars and Delaney with the bogey. So he's now going to drop back to -1. And we have a 3-way tie at -1 with Sale still at +4. As we go into hole 15, 363 feet pin position C. One of the most difficult holes that the players face today. Really long, really tricky, tight fairway. And the hole is on the other side of the creek to the right. You can't actually see it, but it's a pretty long shot. And there's Lance using his forehand. And unless you have this shot that Dale has, then you probably will be playing the forehand. And that is crushed. That is one of the biggest Annie shots that we saw. It was super hard to pick up. I don't think Kyle saw it, so we didn't get to see where that landed, but you will see where it landed. That was mashed. And Sale trying to do the same thing, and he just ended up a little bit shorter. And he's on the the left-hand side of the creek. And there's Delaney going back to the destroyer, which I really like that play. I really do like the forehand play. And this is where Mike landed. And that just turned on him. Maybe the wind pushed it straight left. But he's going to have a very difficult putt to try to save par. And Delaney, easy breezy, just right next to the basket. That's as good as you're going to get unless you throw it in. Here's Lance. Yeah, that's a really nice shot by Lance. And here's Sale, who kind of had a weird second shot, and this is for par. Oh my goodness. Welcome back, Mike Sale. What a putt. That was like a 60-footer. Over the creek, into the basket for the par save. That's 2 big putts in a row for him. Really happy to see him making those putts because he's such an awesome person. And here's Dale, who was about pin high. That's how far he went, and this is for birdie. And Dale Gatlin's just going to have to settle for a par. But that was a really impressive drive that Dale had. Oh no, Lance. And Lance is going to catch a little bit of the bogey blues there as he's going to take a 4. And here's Gatlin for a 3. Never doubt. As Delaney taps in, we see 3 pars and Lance with the unfortunate bogey, so he's going to drop a shot off the pace as Delaney and Gatlin are the leaders at -1 as we go into hole number 16. Pin position A, 258 feet. And here we are, hole number 16, and Dale Gatlin throwing a rare forehand, and he's going to find himself in a forest, a small forest. And here's Sale, who's no stranger to forehands. He's got a good one. And another unfortunate roll and skip, and Sale's going to have a fairly decent approach shot. Here's Delaney throwing one, and it just looked like it was a little bit low out of his hand and catches the ground. He'll have a look, but he's going to be outside the circle. And here is Lance. Lance put this on a beautiful line right out of his hand. You were thinking he's got a shot at it. And that's a park job. That is really nice. And here's the small forest that Dale Gatlin appears to have found, as all 4 players going with the forehand. And he's still in a bush, so that's going to be a tester for Dale to save 3. And I really do like the forehand play. That's what I would do on this hole. I think that's what it calls for. I've seen a thumber, but I just really like the forehand play as Sale approaches, and that's great. Right next to the basket. He should have a 3. And here's Delaney Cole trying to get a birdie here. Oh, and he just missed it. That was a great run. Had the height on it. Delaney putting with McPros. Really likes the stability in him. And they seem to be working really good for him. And here's Gatlin trying to save another one. And he got it. Good 3 save. And there's a fantastic birdie by Lance, who's going to get one back on this card. And Delaney tapping it in. Sale tapping it in. So 3 pars, and Lance with the birdie to get that bogey that he just had back. And we have a 3-way tie at -1 as Sale still back there at +4. As we go into hole number 17, the final hole of this video. Pin position B, 233 feet, and it is a shorter hole, but it's got a tricky window. As you can see off to your right hand side, there's the window, and you got to keep it low, and you got to keep it underneath all these trees. And Lance just went right side, and he looked like he got stuck in the bush. So he's going to have to try to approach and scratch out a par. And Dale, just grip lock city right there. Never had a chance, just went right the whole way. So he's got damage control coming up, and he's just going to try to scratch out a 3 and move on. Here's Sale. Looked like a really good shot from Sale, and he hit actually right next to the basket, and it slid down past the steps. So he's actually behind the bush, and he'll have a tough upshot as Delaney just caught that uphill section of the mountain right there and caught a little bit of a cut roller, and he'll have an approach. Decent approach by Delaney, but he went long, so he'll be in the bush there too. And that's the thing with these pin locations. As Dale's showing you, this is a pro move here. So he checks out the patent pending and then decides to go with the straddle putt for his upshot. And if you're a beginning player, I can't emphasize enough how important this is. What Dale just did is when you have an approach shot, and as we watch him shoot here, That's a really nice shot. But again, there's that skips down the steps, hitting each step, and he's got a tester for uphill par save. Nice shot by Lance. Same thing. It's really hard to get it to sit there. You can see the steps and they slide. But emphasizing what Dale was doing there is he was testing out each and every angle and look that he had. He tried, he's testing out different stance, and oh no, sail off the basket for birdie. And if you're a beginning player, you have to do that when you walk up to a lie. You test your different angles, test the different shots you might have, and pick the best one that's going to work for you and work for that shot. And I think that's one of the things you can take away from Dale and watching some of these guys on video is how they approach each and every shot. Oh no, and that's a heartbreaker for Dale. Heartbreak Hotel, and that's going to be a 4, not what he wanted to do. As Lance with a really nice par. Delaney, he's got a tester. So Delaney's going to have to take off his jacket for this one because this is not an easy shot. He is in the bush. You can't even almost see him as he's going to try to save par. And he got it. Good par save. It was really hard to see the disc, really hard to see him as Sale taps in. And Gatlin with the unfortunate bogey. So Lance Langren and Delaney Cole leading by 1 shot over Gatlin and Sale at +4 as we go into the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. I want to give a shout out to all the people that made this possible. The tournament directors, all of our sponsors, the players, Kyle with the second cam. So thank you guys so much. And stay tuned as the final 9 holes of the first round are coming up.